Dale Earnhardt Jr. has just opened up about the Cup Series and has voiced his honest opinion. Next to that, he spoke about how he is sad to see one of the most influential tracks disappear from the playoffs. Competing in the NASCAR Cup Series is the ultimate aim of each aspiring race car driver. The Craftsman Truck and Xfinity Series serve as training grounds for talented drivers to perfect their abilities before making the big leap to Cup racing. Reaching the summit of NASCAR racing is one thing. Being successful is a whole other matter. Not every driver that advances to the main series of stock car racing is successful, as the competition is fierce. Carson Kvapil, Connor Zilisch, and Corey Heim are among the up-and-coming NASCAR drivers. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was well aware that they may wind up in the Cup Series, provided some vital advice. One that might provide young, bright drivers a solid career path. He also discussed the trade-offs of competing at the top level with a mid-pack squad. That may damper the emotions of a talented race car driver. There are several examples of drivers who have made the transition from Xfinity to Cup level in the aim of realizing their ambition. Ryan Preece of SHR is one among the drivers that made the massive leap. After only one season with JD Motorsports, Preece joined JTG Daugherty Racing, which was not a championship contender, but good enough to satisfy the driver's dream transfer. However, the driver was unable to hit the marks competitively, even with Stewart-Haas Racing. He has just a few solid performances in 159 Cup outings, and he has yet to win a race. The idea of racing in the Cup Series will always entice drivers from lower-level series, but it does not guarantee satisfaction and contentment. Addressing the scenario, Dale Earnhardt Jr. chimed in with his wisdom, stating, "You're happier, God. You want to be happy in life. You know, racing in the trucks and winning in the trucks and winning in the Xfinity Series, you're going to be much happier in general over the course of the year than being miserable, floundering, and struggling in the Cup Series," he said. He also agreed with Hamlin's comments on his podcast about how winning in the Xfinity and trucks is preferable to finishing last in the Cup race. "I believe it's better to win in Xfinity, than to drive in the back of the Cup Series. Yes, I agree with that. Go to the Cup Series and run in the back. You're going to be miserable. It's kind of like getting in a job where there's almost no way to be promoted." Even those who have raced in the Cup Series should not be discouraged from participating in the Xfinity Series, especially if those drivers return to compete for wins and titles. Dale Jr. also dove into the upcoming playoffs, and as well all know Dale Jr.'s favorite racetrack is Homestead, Miami. From 2002 until 2019, the track hosted the NASCAR season finale, before being replaced by Phoenix. The races at Homestead, Miami have been among the most thrilling and memorable in the sport's history. Fans have anxiously awaiting the return of the finale to Miami, since the races in Phoenix failed to meet expectations. However, there is some unexpected news for fans of the forthcoming 2025 season. According to reports, Miami will lose not just their playoff date, but also the opportunity to host the finale next year. This decision is being taken so that other tracks may hold playoff races and gain experience. Although Miami will have to deal with a disadvantageous race date for a time, it is likely to reclaim its place as the location of the season finale in the future. Fans will have to be patient while NASCAR looks at other track choices. Dale Jr. expressed displeasure at the news that Homestead, Miami had lost its playoff date. He feels the track deserves at least one playoff race, given its history as the location of the season finale. Despite his disappointment, Jr. is optimistic about the future of Homestead, which retains a particular place in his heart. It'll be fascinating to watch how things progress for the track and its devoted fans. After this, Dale Earnhardt Jr. spent some time analyzing the NASCAR Cup Series playoff bubble before of the Ally 400 at Nashville Superspeedway. With just 10 drivers winning in 2024, there are plenty of racers fighting for points. There are 8 races left until the playoffs are decided, and unusual events like this weekend's trip to Nashville might result in a surprise victory or two. Who should have their head on a swivel this weekend and throughout summer? There are several intriguing names that Earnhardt Jr. will keep an eye on until the regular season ends. Looking at the playoffs, we've got 10 drivers with wins, 11 through 16, Martin Truex Jr., Ross Chastain, Ty Gibbs, Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher, and Joey Logano. Logano gained 19 points to the cut line. Buescher gained 23 to the cut line. Bubba Wallace lost 19 points and fell out of the top 16, so that's going to be compelling to watch, Earnhardt Jr. explained. Bowman talked about how nervous he was at the end of that race. He's 59 points to the good right now. I think they can suffer a winner, but not two. If somebody like Logano or anybody below him wins a race, then Bowman is only 9 points above the cut line. So these are very, very challenging times for these teams. Big pressure. You've got Chase Briscoe -25 trying to work himself back into it, Kyle Busch -45, and then Josh Berry at -73. Josh gained 27 points to the cut line. Big day. He's not going to have that opportunity every week. I think he had a little bit of a somewhat short track run here between Iowa and New Hampshire. Racetracks that he feels more akin to or comfortable with. But we'll see if they can continue to build on what they've got in terms of momentum for the number 4 car. I just want to say that behind that, everyone else, they're not going to work their way into these playoffs points-wise. These teams behind Josh or anybody else outside the top 20 in the playoffs right now is going to have to sneak in a win somehow, someway. It's doable, man. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. did it last season. It's possible. While wheelmen like Martin Truex Jr., Ross Chastain, and Ty Gibbs may have clinched barring a calamity, who knows where the rest of the field will wind up if we get a surprise victor in the same spirit as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. last season, as Earnhardt Jr. suggested. Who makes the playoffs remains to be seen, but the NASCAR Cup Series has a lot on the line this summer. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be paying careful attention, and the anxiety of each driver hanging around that cut line will not be relieved until the last possible second, for sure. And one of those surprise drivers that could steal a win in playoff spot is Kyle Busch. And even though Kyle Busch's 2024 performance has been talked about a lot, but he at least has Dale Earnhardt Jr. on his side. The NASCAR Hall of Famer feels the 2-time Cup Series winner has a bright future ahead of him. While he is now on the outside looking in of the playoff picture, Earnhardt Jr. feels the Num 8 can steal a win during the summer and return to the hunt in the coming weeks. I wasn't sure how much y'all wanted to talk about the struggles that Kyle Busch had. It was a tough day. It's been a long, tough month. Got lapped early. Just a tough day. I think they turn it around. I mean, they guy could go win next week, Earnhardt Jr. said. You just don't know with him. And that team, they're streaky. I know it's been a bad year compared to last year, but you just don't ever know. When they show up with a car, the guy can do it. Alas, Busch has done it before, startling the world when everyone believed he was done. Plus, he won 3 races in 2023. If you overlook the previous few weeks, Earnhardt Jr.'s prognosis is not completely off. Nonetheless, it's always darkest before the dawn, and Kyle Busch should be living by that saying right now. He's put together some good runs despite some poor luck, so we'll see whether the Num 8 can get back on track. Regardless of what Dale Earnhardt Jr. feels, Richard Childress Racing appears to have lost its way. Kyle Busch suffered a DNF on Sunday, his 3rd in the previous 4 races. This NASCAR season has been a disaster for the numbered 8 squad. Ironically, Busch may have completely shown his season's troubles when he wrecked in New Hampshire. After 2 hours of waiting to return to the circuit, Busch lost traction on the wet weather tires under caution and crashed before the race resumed. Up and against the wall. Then it was finished. Busch had been involved in an altercation earlier in the day, but this was the ultimate blow. The number 8 vehicle could no longer go. Kyle Busch did not talk with media after leaving the treatment center in New Hampshire. Busch's average finish over the previous 6 races is 26.5. It's hard to imagine this is anything other than rock bottom. But Dale Jr. still has faith in Busch? What about you? Could it be that Busch could be the surprise of the season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.